on Fox Sports 910.
Hey, everybody, welcome back in. We're rolling to you live until the top of the hour. We are at the Camelback location, Twin Peaks, right here. Rockin' Minuch with Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910, 99.9 FM, HD2, and also on the iHeartRadio app. Howard Balzer, as the voice radio guy referenced, is now our guest, and we are talking NFL and Cardinals football. Howard, how are you?
I'm doing well. Hope you guys are doing well too, and a great atmosphere there. So good to be with you.
All right, we're not going to waste any time. Yesterday, Steve Keim, former Cardinals GM, Tuesday, yes, came out with his comments on the Colin Cowherd show on Fox Sports 910, and taking shots at Kyler Murray. So let's start first, because Minuch and I are going to pick your brain on what that scenario was. Where were you on Keim's comments, and where are you on Kyler Murray?
Well, I think Keim had some decent points in what he said, but it looked to me that he was kind of nitpicking in terms of talking about Kyler blaming others. I mean, I didn't see it as blaming others. I mean, his basic line that he was objecting to was where, Kyler said, hey, if the what ain't working, then we all have to look in the mirror. And I think that's true. That should be true on any team. He didn't say they have to look in the mirror. He said we. So he included, himself in that if it isn't working. So I think that was, a tad overboard. I don't know, why he interpreted that quote as that. And, there's another guy that was on Cowherd's show, Jason McIntyre, who went totally ballistic and was talking about Kyler Murray's mom he heard doing his laundry and, this and that, and used the word accountable like accountable or accountability 5 times. And when I read what he said, I said, didn't he notice or didn't he see, I'll bet he didn't even watch the flight plan. And because in that deal, Kyler talked about how he's excited for the way that things are now, and that the new group is holding people accountable. So by saying that, he's acknowledging that everybody has to be accountable. So I don't get some of the shots sometimes. I mean, I know it's the atmosphere we're in, and people kind of look for things and want to elevate themselves with comments and all that. But I thought. Now granted, the whole flight plan thing we always have to take into account was team produced.
Yes.
This was their production. And anything Kyler said was said to, the people working for the team. We as a group of media haven't had the opportunity to talk to him yet. I don't know if that's going to happen next week or when that's going to be. But, bottom line is, I think that he's in a good place right now as he tries to rehab from this. I believe that he was humbled by that. And now with a new coach, new GM, I mean, he realizes that it's starting over for everybody. So I don't know what the point is in taking gratuitous shots at time. If someone says something that's totally, out of line, then, hey, they have to be, quote, accountable for it. But I didn't see that very much in what Kyler Murray said.
I would have liked to heard Steve Keim talk about some of the lack or the accountability he had or didn't had with his years at the Cardinals. Say, hey, look, there's some things I could have done better, blah, blah, blah. And I listened to his comments about Murray a couple of times, Howard. I had to listen 3 times ago. Are these backhanded compliments? Is he dissing the kid or whatever? Because there was a mixed message in there. I listened to it quite a couple of times, which I thought might have been maybe some shots across the organization as well, and Kyler Murray just happened to be the focal point of that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I think with some of the things he said that hey, when the quarterback is the guy that gets the slings and arrows. When things aren't going well, then I've always said I think quarterbacks get too much of the blame when things are going bad, and too much of the credit when things are going well, because it is obviously, a team sport. But yeah, I thought that's why I said, I think a couple of things he said in there, you understand a little bit where he was coming from, but this is a guy that supported Kyler Murray all along.
3 minutes.
I think at some points he has said that, hey, Kyler Murray helped get me a contract, extension. And so, of course, it didn't work out very well there and everything else. But, yeah, I don't know when, if ever, he's going to do that interview with someone that, really talks about his tenure, with the team, and talks about it honestly. Mistakes, but pluses. I think sometimes that he gets blamed for a lot of stuff that I think sometimes is a little overboard. I mean, I saw somewhere where someone was taking the task for last year for re-signing Zach Ertz and James Conner and A.J. Green, and overpaying them. I mean, A.J. Green hardly made any money. So I think sometimes, the flip side is, the media looks for, a lot of negatives and sometimes, talks about stuff that maybe isn't really, isn't worth going after. But, hey, that's the atmosphere we live in. And I'm like
2 minutes.
Real curious if at some point he not only talks about everything that happened, but hey, let's tell everybody what went on last year when he walked away from the team and took the leave of absence. What was going on with you? I think that would be interesting to hear, but who knows if that'll ever happen.
Howard Balzer is our guest. It's a great read, everybody. He's terrific at what he does. You can find him at GoPHNX, always on Twitter at HBalzer721. Howard, Minuch is already given his opinion. He is out on Kyler Murray. He believes that he's already shown who he is. Our State 48 Roofing It's Your Call question of the day offers up the question of, because of the knee injury, does Kyler Murray get a pass this upcoming
1 minute.
season? Or if he really doesn't show that much, it would be no. And do you take, with the number 1 pick overall, Caleb Williams out of USC? Where are you?
Well, that's a big question with everything. And we the thing is, I mean, there's so many different opinions on this, and Minuch might end up being right about that. But we kind of have to let it play out. We don't even know when he's going to be ready to play, and then when he does play, what does the team look like around him? But I think this organization wants to see him on the field, this year, and then they can make it, then they can make a decision going forward. I think and the one thing Keim said is the team's in a tough predicament, and he's right about that. Because here's the deal. If he comes back and doesn't play well, whether that's because of his own poor play, whether it's the stuff going on around him, is he really 100%? Is he not able to do the things that he's capable of doing? Because they're in a tough predicament going into next year, because if you draft Caleb Williams, what do you do with Murray? I mean, he's got a tremendous amount of guaranteed money next year, and the only way in my mind it looks like to get out from under that contract next year and the salary cap ramifications are if you're able to trade him if you decide to move on. Well, guess what? If he doesn't play well, or if he goes out there and gets hurt again, he's had a bunch of injuries in his first 4 seasons, who's going to trade for him and take on that contract and give up anything of value in draft picks? So it is a very tough, position for this team to be in. I think that's why what they're hoping for is, hey, get him out there, hope he plays well, and shows that he's worth, continuing to build this new team around and see where it goes from there. If it doesn't work in a couple of years, there's going to be another Caleb Williams. There's going to be other quarterbacks. People act like this is the last good quarterback that's ever going to be drafted in the National Football League. But I think next year makes it really difficult, to have that happen because of those things, that I've talked about.
Now it's a no-brainer. I will start the GoFundMe page if I got to contribute to move Kyler Murray on for one Caleb Williams, because he's one of the generational kind of kids. So I'll contribute at least $50 to make that thing happen. Yeah. So just to kind of
that'll really help with the whatever it is like a 50, like a 45, something like that. I got to go look at it really closely. But it's close to a $50 million cap hit.
Sure.
That you would take. Yeah, that you would take, maybe even more if he moves on, unless he's traded. Now, if he traded, someone picks up all that guaranteed money, all of a sudden it becomes a little bit, easier to stomach. But everybody giving money doesn't help the salary cap. and everyone's talked about how much cap space they're going to have next year, these extra draft choices they're going to have, and all of that. But that, that remains to be seen if it will be the case. And that's why I think from the team standpoint, they're hoping that it works out. And then with those extra draft picks, we'll see where they end up and what the Cardinals pick is, what Houston's pick is. Then they can get a lot more younger players in here. And, who knows how much they could get if they end up with the first pick and, be able to trade that pick. But, again, a lot has to happen between now and next April to have any real handle on what the situation will be.
I'll say Kyler Murray for 10 of those 11 draft picks. We're done. Let's go. Let's go get Kyler. Let's go get Caleb.
Howard, thank you as always, pal. We've run out of time in this segment. It's great when you come on. Appreciate you, brother.
My pleasure. I got a new story going up soon on PHNX about all this craziness, and for those who like the podcast, I'll be on the podcast today at 4:00. So we'll hope everybody tunes in.
All right, awesome. That's Howard Balzer, everybody. Great reads at Go PHNX. You can follow him on HBalzer. This is Twitter at HBalzer721. All right, we continue to broadcast live as we get ready to close things out here. Twin Peaks on Camelback. Coming up, it's our Learner and Roll one call, that's all. Rockin' Minuch with Jimmy B, Fox Sports 910.
Check this out. This is The Herd. You're excited. I'm excited. With Colin Cowherd.
I know you think you know.
Hey, Manuch, can I get you to do the promos real quick?